Hey,
Good
hey,
afternoon.
hey. It's afternoon for some of us, and some of us
Yeah,
it's morning time, and some of us just any time.
yes.
Mhm.
So today we thought we'd spend a little bit of time since we're talking about sponsors. And we've been talking in the Founders Club, Nonprofit Founders Club, how to get sponsors interested in, you know, taking a financial role in your event. And this month we've been kind of exploring, or this week anyway, just kind of exploring how to sell your assets.
Yes.
So, what kind of assets do you have at your event that you could sell to the sponsor?
hmm
So,
Yeah, because an event is like it's a buyer's and a seller's market. So the sponsors they want to buy something. It's like, but what do you have to sell that's so different and so unique that they want to buy because they're buying because they want to be able to have access to your audience. And so it's like, what do you have to offer them? So that's some of the things that we're going to talk about. It's like, what do you have to offer? So as soon as I do this with my jacket, I'm like, maybe you can have jackets there and you can have the sponsor's name on your jackets for all your staff. So you can say, you know what? We're having this huge event. We want all of our staff to have a certain jacket. Would you be the sponsor for these jackets? Because you can sell anything to them, but you want to make sure that you're tailoring it specifically to their need. You know, I
yeah,
see a lot of people doing sponsorship, and I know you've seen it too, Antoinette. People do a sponsorship and they have just these plain old packets, the same packets. For $10,000 you get this, for $5,000 you get this,
yeah,
and for this, but one size does not fit all. And that's what a lot of us do is we do one size fits all when we
yeah,
come to sponsor. And that's how it used to be in the past. But now, right now, it's like, we don't want that anymore. We want things that's tailored to our company. So let's talk about some of the assets that you could possibly sell at an event.
yeah. So I think you hit on one when you said jackets. Most of us always go to an event and there are bags, swag bags. So those sponsors could, you know, have their names. They could provide all of those bags
Mm-hmm.
that, and also I think, and you correct me, but what we're not saying is it's only the sponsor's name. It's your name, but the bags are sponsored by, and then it's the sponsor's name. So,
Yes. And you can have
mhm,
a bag with multiple sponsors or just one sponsor, but you want to tailor it to them. So say you're having an event and it's hot. You can have someone sponsor a misting tank, a misting station, a water
yeah,
station. You can have someone sponsor a cell phone station. If you're having an event and you have a parking lot, someone could be like, you know what, I'm gonna give you $5,000 and I'm gonna sponsor the parking lot, and I want a big banner outside that says whatever the name of your event is, parking lot, courtesy of, and I want my nonprofit, my business name on there. So that means everybody that comes into this parking lot, they know who sponsored. And if you're giving them a parking ticket, the name is on that parking ticket of who sponsored it. But then everybody else who drives by gets to
we'll
see their
see it.
name. So
Yeah,
that's getting a lot of traffic. Sponsors love to see they're making an imprint and they're getting lots of traffic and people are knowing them.
yeah. One of my favorite ones too is if you have a stage and you have presenters, you have entertainment. Each one of those activities can be sponsored by a different person, you
hmm
know, or you make a huge packet and the one person can sponsor all stage events, but each one of those items can be sponsored. Classrooms. You have a classroom on a certain subject. Vanessa and I earlier were talking about golfing, and I remember the organization that I sat on the board for. One of them, we used to do a golf event.
Yes.
Every hole was sponsored by someone.
You got 18
Every
holes.
single, yeah, 18 holes, 18 sponsors. Then we had a hole in one sponsor. And that was usually something huge like a car. So do we get the local car dealership to put a car out and say, if you hit a hole in one, you get, this car. So all of those,
Right.
each one of those things. If you have a concession stand, you
hmm
can have that area be sponsored by someone.
Yeah.
And the way that that would kind of work too, well, one of the ways that that could work is if the vendors are, if you're doing a community event and you want people in the community to come out, so you're not selling tables, then you can have the whole area sponsored by someone. So, and that's when we kind of go back to make sure that your sponsor matches your event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you just want to make sure you keep that. So,
Yes, it really is. And like, say for instance, I was speaking with someone yesterday. I was like, you know what, you could do almost anything. And she had this beautiful head wrap on. I love my head wraps. I haven't been rocking them lately, but I love my head wraps. But the beautiful head. Can you imagine you having an event, a cultural event, right? And you have the head wraps, and then you have a type, and then at the back of your head wrap, everybody has somebody's logo on it, a
yeah,
sponsor, right? And so somebody can sponsor the wraps.
yeah,
People, there's an unlimited idea, but you want to talk to the sponsor. Don't just go to a sponsor and say, This is what you get." Mm-mm. It's like,
yeah,
what is it that you need? What would you like to do? There may be some activation stations that you want to sell. I want to sell an activation station. So, say for instance, you have a sponsor who wants to come in, and the activation is like they get to be there and they're selling something.
yeah,
They are saying, like, say for instance, I have a spa company, and I have this new spa that's coming on. And I want people to get it for the summertime. I may bring my spas there, send them out, and let people test them out. Let people check the jet speed, and so they get to activate at that time and be able to. So you may have a station that they may um, be able to participate in on that. But one thing I want to say, regardless of whatever you do, I want you to think about something, and we go a little bit more in depth in this in the membership club. Is if you have a sponsor who says, "I want something special," not something special that's outside of what you would be doing at your event, and you're like, "Ooh, that's going to cost X amount of dollars." That's fine because they will pay for that. Plus, you can get add a little extra money onto that so you can make a profit. Because remember, we're doing fundraisers. Okay.
right,
So don't just say, okay, that if I come and I say, well, I want you to build me a special platform because I want to display my car on this special platform. And you're like, oh, okay, it's going to cost $2,000 to build that platform. So I'm going to charge you $2,000. No, you need to charge them a little bit more. And then you also want to think about, is this particular activation or what they want to have added to our event, is it going to benefit the event and make the event better, or is it going to benefit the participants? It's going to make their experience better. And those are
right,
things that you want to talk about. So remember, all money is not necessarily good money,
right.
but you can always make it so it's a win-win situation. So you want to make sure it's always a win-win situation, but really think totally outside the box when you're thinking about doing sponsorship. And I know today, Antoinette, we didn't touch on the regular things like naming rights, presenting rights. We didn't talk about those because those are regular. So we really want to talk about some things that we just don't think about. You have
Yeah,
your websites, you have your social media site. But if you are thinking about doing an event and you haven't done it yet and you're a new nonprofit, this is what I'm going to encourage you to do before you really get started. Make sure you have your website and you're getting traffic there, your social media, and you're starting to get social media there, that you have some type of following. People know who you are, because when sponsors are coming out looking, they're looking at all the assets you have to sell.
yeah,
Their goal is to get access to your audience. If you have a small audience, they may be like, check back with me in a year. So if you're a new nonprofit and you don't have any of those set up, or if you're a seasoned nonprofit and you've been so busy doing the work and you haven't really gotten to social media, I'm going to recommend you get to social media. You have to get your email list going, your websites, your social media. So I can go on and on because there's so much to selling events versus saying, "Hey, I got my nonprofit status. I'm having an event. Give me some sponsorship money." It goes deeper than that. It's about building those relationships too.
yeah. And I think I just want to piggyback on what you said, and that is, um, think outside of the box. Think of the things that you have that you can sell at that event. So, I mean, and just about anything
Mm-hmm.
to everything. If there's a soda fountain, you have cups.
Mm-hmm.
You allow the company to put their logo on the cup. So, so that's just us encouraging you to think outside of the box. Think of how you can increase sponsorship by giving sponsors what it is they want. So create unique packages for them based on their desired way of reaching your market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So this is good. We can go on and on, but we don't have a lot of time. So next week we're going to touch on how to really find and identify leads. We're not talking about sponsors yet because we have to find leads. And where do we get our leads from to turn them into prospects to turn them into sponsors? So next week that's what we're going to talk about is how to find leads for your event. But in the meantime, start thinking about your event if you haven't thought about it yet. Go visit other events
Yeah.
and start looking at what assets they have and what assets that you can have at your event. So even if
That's
you're not doing your event for a year away, it's never too early to get started on thinking about that. All right.
all right. Thank you.
So we look forward to, and oh, one more thing. For those of you, I'm going to put this out there. For those of you who have not started your nonprofit, if you're thinking about starting your nonprofit, Antoinette teaches a phenomenal step-by-step process on starting and building your nonprofit. Starting it, and it's like getting all your legal paperwork done. So when you're scratching your head, you're like, I don't understand all this legal mumbo jumbo. She's got you. She's got you
Yes.
through the step-by-step process. So if you're ready to start your nonprofit, go ahead, hit us up at www.nonprofitfoundersclub.com. Get your nonprofit started, get your nonprofit rocking and rolling. We'll see
Yeah.
you later.